I'd like to welcome everyone to London City Council. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent reflection. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, could you please take the roll call?
Eads,
Here.
Peters,
Here.
Robinson,
Here.
Hayes,
Present.
Hitt,
Here.
Stahl,
Present.
Smith.
Councilman Smith is not present this evening. Good to see everyone else. Let's see here. So we have several minutes to approve this evening. Have you all taken a look at the minutes from 1:20, 1:26, our special meeting, as well as 2:1, our special meeting? Do you have any comments or discussion on any of those minutes?
Move to accept.
All right. All in
Second.
favor of approving those, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, all those are approved. And earlier, I think it was this week, Amy sent out a copy of the revised council rules. Has everyone received a copy of those?
Yes.
As well as I gave you a copy now of the handwritten changes that I made, so you can see exactly which rules. And basically, everything is just about the same as it was for the past 2 years. I've added in there that the council president would amend the rules at the beginning of the council term, and then it would be approved by voice vote from council. That was something that had been done before, but it wasn't specifically written in black and white, so I added that. And then we've also, I've added where the community gets to speak for no less than 2 minutes, so they can always have a voice in this council. So all in favor of approving those amended council rules, say aye.
Aye.
All right, for the same sign. All right. On to communications and announcements. We have a list of appointments by the mayor to city boards and community and commissions. Have you all had a chance to take a look at those that he's requesting there? Justin Mason for Board of Zoning Appeals, Dave Mars for the Historic District Review Board, Tina Williams for Parks and Recreation Commission, in Denver, and the last name is an L, Listico for London Metro Housing, and Marv Homan for the Income Tax Review Board. And he's already vetted those appointees there and wants to have our approval by voice vote. All in favor of approving those appointees, say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed, same sign. All right. All right. And next, as a result of the formation of our revitalization district that we sponsored earlier, we have another business here in our city. They're requesting a liquor license, and it's Konnichiwa. They did not sell alcohol before with their sushi and seafood, but they are requesting a liquor license here. Let's see here. And we just need to approve that by voice vote. All in favor of approving that liquor license for Konnichiwa, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Thank you. And the formation of that revitalization district is really going to be able to open up things here in the city. So that's going to be good that they're able to add that as an asset. And we have, I think that's, Rex, you said that's number 2 that we've been able to add. And I think we have 15. So we have about 13 more, which opens plenty of space for even more growth and new businesses here within our city. All right, on to audience concerns. We do not have a lot of concerns this evening. We'll start with Doug Piles. Please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
My name is Doug Piles. I live at 323 Bishop Drive. I'm here because I want to express some concern regarding this levy that you're gonna ask the property owners in London to vote on. I read the resolution that you was in the Madison Messenger, and I'm assuming that's pretty much the wording that's gonna be on the levy itself. There's nothing in this ordinance that explains what you're gonna do with this money. It gives you the general option to do whatever the council decides to do with this 0.5% income tax increase. It doesn't say about, 25% of it or half of it's gonna go to the fire department, half of it's gonna go to pay off a loan. That's not explained. The people don't understand that. And I refer back to the time that you asked the people to vote on the 1.5% income tax increase. And you told the voters that part of that was that those that work outside of town and pay city taxes elsewhere would get a 0.5% credit for those taxes. That was not in the levy. So what did you council do? You voted to rescind that. So you lied to the public. You told them a falsehood. It was not part of the levy as it was written. It was not guaranteed. So the voters were led to believe that if I worked downtown, I was going to get this half, and you all voted to rescind that and give that extra money. So you're not being truthful. You're not being truthful to the voters to be able to vote honestly of what you're presenting. This resolution doesn't say anything about that. This resolution doesn't say you're going out and borrowing $25 million and you're going to try to pay for that with a 0.25% increase in income tax. I don't think at a 25% increase in in income tax is going to pay off a $25 million loan. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I worry about this city. We are so far in debt. We have a $10 million water plant out there we're paying on, that hasn't generated the first glass of water, by the way. It's been sitting idle for 3 years, and we're paying on that $10 million loan. We borrowed money to fix the traffic lights, the street lights around, the traffic control lights. We borrowed money for that. We borrowed money for buying water meters to outfit. We're still paying on the loan to build this facility here. And now you're talking about going out and borrowing another $25 million? You're running this city financially like the government is. They just keep borrowing it from China to support all their programs. Our country is so far in debt, we will never get out. $30 trillion. You're following in their same steps. You're spending money you don't have. There's no way of paying it back. And you're bringing this forward right now when gasoline went up $1 a gallon since last year. If you read the paper what inflation is doing, how these people that's earning this money are buying a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk. That's unfair now to come back and ask now on top of the inflation we're experiencing, and there's no sign this inflation is going to go bad under the current administration. It's going to continue. Gasoline is going up, still going up. And how can you now honestly, clear conscience, come and ask people to now spend another 0.5% income tax? That's not being responsible to the people that voted for you in here. Give them a break. Defer that. So you're not being honest with the wording of the levy. And spending $25 million to build some new facility that there's a question about whether we need it today. What about 2 years from now when the economy turns around, people start making some money and so on? Right now, their salaries their buying power is being decreased. And you're not being responsible when you come back and ask them to pay more. Stop and think about that. Stop and think. And again, you're not being honest in putting the wording in this levy of what your plans are. Because you get that 0.5%, it doesn't say you can use that for all these things that are listed here. You as a council can use that for anything you want to, not what you're originally telling the public you're going to do with it. You don't have to honor that, and you haven't in the past, by the way. So stop and be responsible representatives to the residents here. Defer this until the economy turns around a little bit where you can afford it a little bit better. Let's get this city in good financial condition, situation, pay off some of these notes and loans we have out there. We're still paying for trash trucks. You know, we're paying for squads. Okay, that's all I have to say. Think about this, review it, and defer that.
All right, thank you for your comments. And since the beginning of the introduction of this new levy, I've said the same things that you've said. If this does go to the voters, it needs to be clearly written so they know exactly what it's going for and where the dollars are going, so they know exactly what they are voting for. It would not be fair to put, wording on a levy that's not clear. You don't know exactly what you're voting for. You think you're just voting for a police station and a community center, but then you're also voting for 0.25% to go to a fire levy, which is totally separate. And I've thought before, and I've said it before, you can roll the tape back, that this should be two separate levies, if anything. It should be a levy for fire, and it should be a separate levy for building community center as well as building a police station. And we know that the police station is a really good idea because the current one is not in really good shape. Community center, everyone knows about that, but I'm hearing lots of people would rather have a community center if we did build one that actually does include a swimming pool like other cities have. So it would be something that would be more useful if we did build something like that. And you're exactly correct. And I've worked with the EPA and with Anthony Smith and with the water department with that water plant. It's absolutely atrocious. And I remember when that came out and it was passed, I don't think everyone was for that either. And it has not produced any water whatsoever. There's lots of ammonia in there. And it is currently just not able to produce exactly the way that it's supposed to produce at all. So, as far as the wording, I think the wording does need to be changed. You're exactly correct on that, and that water plant. And, we do need to be sure that we are being fiscally responsible with the dollars, that we are the stewards over. We can't just go and smile in everybody's face when it's election time and shake hands and smile, and it doesn't work like that. You can't continue to do that and still be voted in by people and actually have their confidence. If you're voted in as an official, you should do everything you can to have the confidence of the people. And with some of these things that have been agreed upon and are looking at in the near future here, it's not clear, and I don't think that some of it is being transparent enough for the community, and it needs to be 100% transparent, and it can stand on its own merit. If it stands on its own merit, 100% transparent. Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Michael Norman.
You voted unanimously for this levy. You voted unanimously to put this levy out.
Well, one thing that's good about the levy being out there, which did not happen with the fire EMS split, one good thing is it gives the community a chance to vote on it. Now all the power is in the hands of the community. It's good that council did vote to put that levy on there, so now everybody has a chance to, get the word out, tell all your neighbors, everybody, go and vote. Because this is going to affect you. It's going to affect your pocket, just like everything else is affecting your pocket now. So this is 100% in your hands to say yes or no to. But it's our responsibility here, too, to be sure that when it's on the levy, that it is specifically written out and it is clear and everybody knows exactly what they're voting for. And you're right, that it should say 0.25, no more than 0.25 to fire, and then the other 0.25 to building. It should specifically say that, if that's what it's for. So I agree there. Mr. Norman, thank you.
Not in the resolution.
And it should be in there. The language should be clear. And unfortunately, I can't vote.
Good.
And you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thanks for allowing me to speak. Michael Norman, 188 South Oak Street, here in the great city of London, Ohio. I'm coming here tonight with a request. My request is this, that on future London City Council agendas, that we add a line or a subject line, a report line, and that line would be, and I'm not very creative here, so you just have to go with me. The line would be sewer, drainage, flood, water issues. And I have my reasons that I'd like that to be put on there, and I'm going to tell you what they are. The first reason is we've been told that in order to resolve these issues, all these issues, it's going to cost tens of millions of dollars. So I feel that anything that's going to cost the city tens of millions of dollars to fix should be on every city council agenda so that we can see what's going on. The second thing that we were told is that this is decades of neglect. You know, it's not on you guys. It's been passed down and passed down. But let's look at the word neglect. The word neglect, what makes neglect happen is we lose sight of what we're doing, we stop paying attention, and then in our case, literally, things are just falling in. You know, things are falling apart. If you were to add this line into the agenda, we've got 22 to 24 meetings a year that you guys have. So there would be 22 to 24 times that this issue would be before the public every time you meet. So there would be an update. There would be, you know, maybe the update would say, we didn't do anything this month to fix these issues, or this is what we have planned. It keeps it in the forefront so it's no longer being neglected. And then thirdly, I'd like it on there, my reason for having it on there is I'd like to see the information. I don't want to have to jump through hoops to find out, are we working on this? Are we not working on this? I mean, this isn't like I'm looking for how much money the safety director spends for postage each year. If I want to know that, yeah, I should have to go dig and look for that myself. But on something that we're going to, you know, that we've been told we're going to spend tens of millions of dollars on, I feel that should be something that's out there in front, on the front page, every time we meet, so that we know exactly what's going on. And I don't see putting this line on there as any kind of undue pain to you guys or the administration. It's just another line. It's just another 5 minutes that we take at this meeting, and just give us an update, you know, so that we don't have to, like I said, jump through hoops, make calls to the mayor or whatever, whoever we need to call it to do that. And, you know, this is a big issue, and big issues like this need to be out front, and like you said, transparent, 100% transparent. Get it out there, because I went to the public service meeting, and there was 2 other people there, and I think we all walked in thinking that we've done nothing about this infrastructure problem. But, you know, Bill Long was there, and he told us this is what we're doing. But again, we had to kind of jump through hoops. We had to go to that meeting. We had to ask the question. But if you put this line on your agenda, you know, anybody can tune in on a video or come to the meeting and hear what's going on. So that's my request, and thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Anita Likens. Please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
Thank you. Anita Likens. The address is 157 East First Street here in London, Ohio. And in continuation of my comments over the last 3 months on civility and the U.S. Constitution, I will continue reading the Constitution in this public format. I would want to add just one comment. I try to add a quote that has something to do with our founding fathers. And one of the preserving principles that Thomas Jefferson served, he said, to preserve our independence, we must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. I am for a government rigorously frugal and simple. Section 4, I will continue there. The times, places, and manners of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. But the Congress may at any time make that law, alter such regulations except to the places of choosing said senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and each meeting shall be on the first Monday in December 1st. That was changed by Section 2 of the 20th Amendment, by the way. Unless they shall by law appoint a different day, which they did. Section 5, each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute quorum to do business. But a smaller number may adjourn from day to day and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may in their judgment require secrecy. And the yeas and nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered on said journal. Neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that in which the two houses shall be sitting. Section 6, the senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall, in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to and returning from same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emoluments of which shall have been increased during such time, and no person holding any office under the United States may be a member of either house during its continuance in said office. Section 7, all bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with the amendments as on other bills. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it becomes a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if he not, he shall return it with his objections to that House in which it shall have originated. Who shall enter the objections at large on their journal and proceed to reconsider it? If after such reconsideration 2/3 of the said House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent together with any objections to the other House by which it shall likewise be reconsidered. It shall be approved by 2/3 of that House before it can become law. But in all such cases, the votes of both houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the persons voting for and against the bill shall be entered on the journal of each house respectively. If any bill shall not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be a law, in any like manner as if he had signed it, unless the Congress by their adjournment prevent its return, in which case it shall not be a law. Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of that Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall it be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate. I'll finish this section and then I'll recline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall be passed by 2/3 of the Senate and the House of Representatives according to the rules and limitations prescribed in the case of a bill. And I'll return with Section 8. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next we have Phyllis Hicks. Please state your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Phyllis Hicks. Did you say address?
Yes.
Okay, 400 Circle Drive in London. I feel sometimes when I am involved in this that I really don't have the right, because we are fairly new to the city. I mean, we have lived here 4 years, but I know there's so many people here that are going through hard times with water and other issues that I feel like and we're not, but I feel like I need to speak up. And I feel for these people. I talk to them, I see the posts on Facebook, and I feel like I need to speak up. As a community member and somebody who has a big heart for people, I really would like to see you remove the levy from the ballot until something can be talked about and discussed and planned out much better than how this thing went down. I don't think I have to explain that the economy is a mess and people in London have modest incomes. We've been told, I think every time we've voted, that the tax levies that we're renewing would not increase our taxes. But I went through the tax bills, and our bill has gone up $375 since we moved here 4 years ago. So it has increased. It increased over the last year. So we're on a very modest income, I can tell you, because my husband's disabled. And I do what I can, but I am speaking on behalf of everyone who has to put a lot of effort into saving money and paying their bills. And for us to pay any more taxes is really going to be hard on us. So I can imagine what other people in this town, I just look around and I don't think there's a huge amount of rich people in this town, and which I'm fine with. I feel right at home. But I think we need to really consider where people are coming from. I mean, really stop and think about how this is going to affect everybody and what it's going to do to the community. I mean, in a perfect world, we would really love to have the best for the kids and the best for families. We would love to give them everything. But you have to understand that doesn't always turn out right when you give people what they want. And I think they appreciate a lot more when they have to work hard for it. And I think the best scenario in this situation is, and I would be happy to be a part of a volunteer community get-together to discuss what needs to be done to get the things done in London, including a rec center. I would love to see that happen. But I don't think it can happen under the current circumstances. And probably what concerns me right now more than anything is the water situation. And people are being told that discolored water is safe. And I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around that. So I know there was an attorney involved with the Safe City Ordinance that was warning against lawsuits. I would consider that could be an issue. If people start having health issues or, especially with children and other people, I would say that would be something that should be considered. And I really think that, especially with the rec center, that if you go that direction, it's going to be a can of worms, especially with the EPA. My husband and I have been through a situation where we had to deal with the EPA on a business we owned. And if they get into that soil and find out there's something in there, I can't even begin to tell you the cost. So, and what you have to go through to get rid of it. So again, there's all these issues that you really have to look at. And is this community ready to do that? And I can tell you it's not. It's not. I'm one of the people that's listening to what's being said on all sides. And I know that this city is not ready for this. And I think that they would have a lot more respect for the people who are running the town if you would let us sit down with you and really hash this thing out and come up with some solutions. Because I know there's solutions. I know that we can raise money. We can really work at this thing and get to it. But to rush this thing through like this, it's just not right. So again, I appreciate what you guys do. I truly do. I know it's a thankless job at times, but I have to raise my voice, and I have to say, I have to fight on behalf of the people of this town and say what I can and fight where I can. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. All right, and you do live in this community. You have every right to be here, just as people who have lived here their whole lives. I'm not from this town either, and I have just as much right to speak as you do, so thank you very much. And from what I understand, the mayor is supposed to have some town hall meetings scheduled. How many of those do you have scheduled? 4, 5, 4 of them? 4 town hall meetings scheduled where you can come out and discuss it in further detail, the levy that's going to be on the ballot. And like I said before, I think this is one of the best things that it is on the ballot because the outcome of that election is going to be 100% on you to come up with the results of that election. Yes.
What bothers me about that is when you put it all together though, it kind of holds us hostage because we do realize the police need a building. We do need the EMS, the fire needs to be helped. And then you put the rec center on here and it's like it's holding us hostage. And it's probably all gonna be voted down. And so it doesn't make any sense to go through all these hoops and spend all this money going through all this when you know it's gonna get voted down.
Okay, I agree with what you're saying. And if you roll the tape back, I said something similar to that, feeling as if everything is ran together, you may end up not getting anything voted for.
You kind of lumped it in two. I think it should be 4 personally.
Yeah.
That's just me and my simple thinking.
Yeah. And two, I don't understand why it wouldn't be separated. You can vote for each one could stand on its own merit, and each one get voted on separately. So thank you very much. Next, we have Tommy Boyd. State your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
I'm Tommy Boyd, 48 North Union Street. Thank you, everyone. First off, Doug left already, but I tried to find something that somebody hasn't talked about already, but most of it's been covered, but I still got a little bit. Yeah, tonight, I really do feel like I'm coming up here and being negative a lot. I don't want that. You know, I want to, hey, help us out. That's where we should be. But there is a lot of stuff that, hey, we do need to realign. And so tonight, at least the first one was to talk for someone who said they did wish that we talked about the sewer issue and the water getting out of here. Do we have any future plans right now, I guess? I know Mr. Smith isn't here right now, which would be kind of our BPU guy to talk to, but do we have anything, I know we're looking at as a large picture, but is there anything in the near future?
Pat,
Yeah, storm sewer.
storm
just kinda-
sewer? Pat?
Yeah.
And we have Bill here, too.
Yeah, Bill's here.
Yeah.
Bill, do you want to talk about
Bill?
anything? So we are, currently, we are in talks with an engineering firm to come out and do a study from the back of this property all the way to the south end and look at grades and how we can improve, because we feel that the backup's starting in the south end and then it just works its way up to the north. Sir, I just said, I completely understand. We have to work in different sections. We can't do it all at once. So we're going to work with the section from, what is it, Bill?
Foundations are part of the storm sewer, so you got to reroute it completely. Which one are you referring to? Out 56 towards Graceland. We did work out there. We're doing more work this summer.
That was one of the first, when I became mayor, that was maybe the first storm sewer project that we did, was the 2 pipes that went under. Twin 36s out there.
So right now, though, it sounds like a survey, though, is what we have.
Storm sewers on the north end to get replaced this summer.
Okay.
And the 56, 38 project.
Okay, and so that is where it kind of comes back to, I think we understand that we're getting a lot of erosion that is giving us buildup down there. You know, once again, I don't want to just come be negative, I'm gonna try to, hey, give ideas, even though I want to hold them, but we gotta clear out some ground for that water to get to. West Lincoln Avenue, the creek that's going down through there. You got the little fields going down towards Merrimack, constantly flooding, but that is kind of where that water is emptying out to. And I'll say, do the study, that spot is filled up. When that creek gets dry, it's warm, it's a slow trickle over there. So as soon as we start getting water, it automatically starts building back up to the town.
What the creek's supposed to do, storm sewers get into the creek.
I get,
Once the creek sinks its level, the water's gonna back up no matter what.
and so if we took out that area though, would the storm sewer need to work as hard though to pump that water out if it actually had somewhere to go, is what I'm getting to. And so I'm just saying that area down there is really filled up with backfill, everything else, you know, the creek's very shallow. So my thought is emptying that out, doing some cleaning out, actually, hey, maybe turning that backfill, selling it, doing something else with it.
You can't touch a creek,
Can't do anything, you can't clear it out
it
or,
falls under federal law. It does not fall under state.
so does that mean all of the creeks behind all of the houses, even over by, Jacqueline, I think it is over there?
Not everything is a creek.
Okay, so it is going, okay, right now it's a river. So what do we be mad at? That, I have it written down, creek, stream, or river, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, and so,
And that project is being worked on right now also.
okay, and so,
County owns a section of that,
once again,
and they're in their.
not pushing, but my general idea, you know, hey, just to kind of give us thought on it, if you want to check it out, would be by West Lincoln Avenue, kind of down that way. It looks like it's,
Since I've taken this position, we've cleaned the creek completely, what we can do to it. But you cannot take a hoe in and change the level of the creek.
yeah,
That falls under the federal engineer for the creek.
all right,
They
So-
don't allow you to just come in and dig waterways out.
okay, I get that
That's
part.
5 minutes.
Nothing wrong with that. And so thank you very much, though, once again. No harm, that's just me seeing what is being done. Like I said, that whole part was mostly, I wanted something that I'm bringing that isn't just negative. The other part is the community center. Am I allowed to go with that, or should I write my name down twice so I can talk about two different things?
Well,
No.
everyone,
Is it
everyone's
5?
been given 5 minutes
Okay.
tonight, so.
Well, I'll say everybody else, thank you for kind of coming up and speaking about that. That was the main thing. It's kind of, I've seen several things lately that we have a good majority of people in this room that are not saying yes to it. But we continue to vote yes on these items. And so just kind of seeing our opinions of how much they're actually counting is something that I did want to mention, but it has been chimed on enough tonight. But is it possible to get that removed from the levy at all? I know it kind of was brought up, but I'll just ask the question. Is that even possible?
The best thing.
I didn't think so.
Well, I think the best thing to do is have it on the levy, so you can vote for it.
And I get
So
that.
then if you don't want it, then just,
And once again, it does
Vote
come
no.
down to the question of the individuals such as Mr. Smith that unfortunately isn't here, that I did want to ask, you know, I understand he doesn't have a use for that community center, but what stops those people from voting for it just to help our fire department and help our police department?
right, and that
And
was,
then-
is 100%
So
on
that's
the
where I'm hoping,
community.
hey,
Yeah.
I don't know if we can take our opinions in a little more, but that'd be my last piece there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. And Bill, you said that those creeks, they fall, now, if those creeks were dug out, would it allow for better water? It would not? What's an example of something that could actually make a difference in the flow of water so our houses aren't getting flooded? What's something that would actually make a difference? The study. And with the study, now is the study just to take a look at around here first because it's proposed to build a community center? Okay.
This here feeds from here to the southeast,
All right, and that's what the study is for specifically?
because this was all laid as a brick sewer.
Uh-huh.
So it's 100+ years old. It has been collapsing. The first collapse when I come into office, this job,
Right.
was an issue. We replaced that section. It was collapsed across the dentist office, so we replaced that section. We come in, found it was collapsed here. We replaced this. It has ended so far at the end of the parking lot. So then this actually runs to a vault, what I call a vault. It's an open ditch over in Center Street and River. That vault has, it reduces, it starts ditch that the city does not own, it's owned by a farmer. It's clear there. The ditches eventually don't even be cleared there the whole way through. But we need to start, because it feeds into a 48 from that ditch to Center Street. Under Center Street, a piece of it is a 72, then you have an open ditch along the old railroad, and then you actually reduce under the railroad with a 36.
All right, so then my question would be, because I know there's lots of different sizes and inductions and deductions and everything that happen, but my question would be, out of all the changes and work that has been done, do you have like maybe a percentage number of how it's actually helped? Has it changed anything or caused water flow to be better, any of the changes that have already been made?
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, an inch rain, we were flooding out here before, since we replaced the pipe, we're getting it away, it's not even, but this is thing, you just gotta keep prepared, the infrastructure hasn't been touched in ages.
Right,
Then 48 inches is actually people's footing,
yeah,
so you can't touch that because it's under their houses,
all right.
it's under their house.
So then what I would say is, because we've heard that, this is something that's happened a long time and now it's fallen our laps. And you know what? One thing about it is we were elected to do this job and it has fallen on our laps, and it is our job to take care of this. It hasn't been taken care of in the past and it needs to be taken care of now. So I would definitely say that these are things, you had a good idea. These are things that need to be in the forefront and need to be talked about. And we need to start to make strides versus we get a whole new council in here 5-10 years from now, and everybody's houses are still flooding and nothing's been done, and everything's still backing up, and then everyone still says that, oh, it's because it's old infrastructure. You know what? If it's old infrastructure, we need to focus on fixing the old infrastructure, getting the old out, replacing it with new, so we don't have community members with their houses flooding all the time, year after year, from the time they're kids to now. So I would definitely say this is something that should 100% be on the forefront, as well as the water. It is discolored right now, but you said there's a bearing out or something like that. And where are we at with fixing that? Because it's really dark colored water. Do we have anything on that, the bearing there? Just a moment, I want to hear from Pat on the bearing. Well, I want to hear the bearing first, and then we'll go back to Bill.
So we did have a 37-inch bearing go out on the water softener tank. So that's what softens the water. So industry standards changed to, I believe, a 33-inch bearing. So we were working with a company trying to figure out, are we going to be able to find the 37-inch? Do we need to replace a whole mechanism throughout it with all the paddles? Because we only have one softening tank. So it went down, the bearing went out. So actually today, I just got an email back from someone from TJ that says that they think they have found one in Florence, Kentucky, and that they hope to have it within the next couple of days, and then we can start working on getting it fixed. So the issue is that the water goes through the filters. We are in great contact with the EPA. The EPA we are testing the water. The EPA is getting our samples. The discoloration in some areas is because it goes through the filters, but it'd be almost like out in the country, so it's hard water at times, right? So some people are getting some hard water. So it's going through the filters, it's filtering everything out. But one thing the softening does also is when it softens, it pulls a lot more of the iron out
of it.
That the filters can't get all the iron. So that's where the brown is coming from, is the iron, is what TJ is telling me. So we're working on it. This has been kind of my daily ritual, is trying to get that figured out and work with the companies to get it done. And we hope to have a timeline on when we're going to get it fixed, hopefully tomorrow, and If not, hopefully early next week, we'll have an exact timeline on when they're gonna come in and get that fixed.
All right. And that's good to hear, too, that the EPA is taking a look at the samples of the water and to hear that that's iron. You know, I'm not sure if any of you have lived in the country before, but I'm from Pataskala, and there we had well water. We had no water softeners. So you wash clothes, you get to wear them white once or twice. After that, it's done. So, thank you. Yes.
Does it make sense? I mean, I'm talking long run, we had to search for this 37-inch piece. If this 37-inch piece goes out, and we've had this hard of a time finding it, doesn't it make more sense that we should put in what is now the regulated size? So that if it does happen again, we're not waiting this long?
All angles, and we're also looking at a backup tank. So again, if this ever happens again, and then we can also shut them down completely, get them all cleaned out, and then use the other one and go back and forth. So, yes, that's all in discussions right now.
All right, thank you. Now, Bill, now if you speak, you want to come to the mic? No, because they cannot hear you over the recording if you don't speak on the mic. So to them, it looks like no one's talking. So yeah, if you could use the mic so that way on the recording, everyone can hear you. Thank you.
I guess the subject of flooding. You're never gonna cure all flooding. I don't care what you do. Because you've allowed properties to be built in a floodplain. They were ditches. This was way before I was even thought about being here. You go back into the 50s and stuff. There's properties on the north end, if you go find a toppy, they were a ditch, but they were allowed to build on. The property owner turned around and said, I can't farm it, so I can sell it for housing. That's always going to flood. If you're in a bowl, the water's gonna run down. So, there's always going to be flooding, no matter what we do. There will always be flooding. Columbus is flooding, Dayton's flooding, everybody's gonna flood. There's areas that's gonna flood, it's natural. No matter what we do.
All right, thank you. Now, even though we're going to flood, and that's going to happen, what we want to make sure we do, and I hope that this study does, is help us to get to a better place where we can actually do something about it, because there can be something done about the flooding that does happen. Yeah.
You keep saying that, you know, so something can be done, something can be done.
Or you can do nothing.
I'm not saying, I wouldn't say that at all, but there's been a lot done. There's been a lot done in the past 6 years.
And my question was, from the things that have been done, how much has it improved everything?
Well, like.
How many houses no longer flood from the work that has been done?
Henry?
So that's all I'm asking. What I'm asking is the things that we have done, how are they being effective? That's all I'm asking.
And that's what we're saying. That's why we talked about, you know, the Graceland area where we put the 236s. What was out there before, Bill? A 20 going across?
Well, that area could be fixed. If we make Mr. Gross do his.
Well, and that area was also, and Rex was just out in the field with him yesterday.
Yeah, I talked to him.
Okay, so, you know, so we are trying to work with property owners to
I
help.
asked for a meeting today, and I want you involved in it.
Oh, yes, sir. I've never turned a meeting down in my life.
Talk to him.
Huh?
Mr. Gross did not talk to him.
Well, I can't make people talk to people. I can talk to them.
Well, but I'm asking for a meeting.
Yeah, that's fine, anytime. I'll give you my card after this.
Let's do it.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that we are doing projects every year. We have not gone a year without doing storm sewer
Right.
projects. We
Yeah.
did, what did we do, 6 or 8 last year? 6 or 8? I mean, yeah, they're not big $1 million projects, but every little bit that we do is gonna help. We already got 4 lined up for next year. So, I mean, I wanna make it clear that we're not just sitting around and just waiting for studies to be done or whatever. We are definitely doing projects. I would say, if I had to estimate, we've probably spent $500,000 in, you know, 6 years trying to get some of these projects done. And that doesn't include when we did Park Avenue, which was all new storm sewer. which helped all that area up there, so.
All right. And I wasn't doubting that things were being done. I was just asking, how effective are the things that are being done? I'll take two of your questions, and then we're going to move into our legislation. And, yes. And Mike? Yeah. Thank you.
Steve Miller.
Steve Miller.
225 Jenkinson
Steve
Avenue.
Miller Band.
I have noticed, I live next to some of the baseball fields, which are used as a floodplain. When I first moved here, they flood near every time. Now they don't. So I have noticed, it's not something very noticeable, storm sewers. Nobody, it's a stupid joke. But I have noticed with what some of the stuff goes, but it's always fun. Whenever I flush my toilet, I always think of the mayor. And that's a stupid joke. I'm sorry, but it had to be said. People have said worse things, yeah. But, yeah. But I have noticed things being fixed. And, another thing is, just like what Michael said, put it on the agenda every time. But maybe we need to come up with, a 5 or up to 30-year plan, to move this stuff forward. And I don't know if there is a plan or anything, but, come up with, 30 years in the future, 40 years in the future, because this is not something that can be done. You guys know this. It's not something that can be done tomorrow.
No.
We could borrow $100 million and it still wouldn't get done tomorrow.
All right.
And it'd still take quite a bit of time. And I just also want to thank Bill. He drug me out of the snow, or he helped me during the snow plowing. It's a great. He runs a good operation. Never have I once been drug out of the snow by anybody up in Columbus when I lived up there.
Yeah.
And he was able to help me. So thank you.
Good.
Anyway,
Thanks. Did you still have a comment? Okay.
So just real quick, as far as like tracking things that have been done and kind of if it's working. Last year, we still had multiple games rained out for LABC baseball. That's coming up. And so I know my kid's pumped again, but I drove by there before tonight. And it's kind of been a rain today. Drizzle came down probably pretty hard time, but it's already at the edge. It's ready to start saying, hey, games are rained out again. And so that's my only thing that, I get you. But that's the only reason I am kind of looking at that area, is to see if we can decrease that. And so,
Thank you. All right. Thank everyone for bringing all of their concerns this evening. All right. On to our committee reports. We'll start with Mr. Eads.
We had finance meeting once again. During these meetings, just so you guys know, it came up that whether it was the finance or even the services, that I think what everybody would like to see is a plan. So hopefully, the mayor is working on that plan, because I think if there was a plan, they get this engineered, they know where the problems are, they can publish a plan, and everyone has an idea where the worst parts are. And then because you have a plan, even when council switches and there's a new council member or 5 members, or you vote everybody out, that there's a plan that was in place and people can see what's moving forward and try to stay on the plan. I think that's what everybody would like to see. So, it's come up in a couple different committee meetings, and hopefully that's what we're going to see. I think we have to give everybody time. We have to give the mayor time. We have to give Bill time. We have to give this group time to do that. They know in the top of their heads, Bill can tell you 27 projects he's done, but it's not shared with us in the way that we would know that. So I think that's kind of important that they'll end up doing that. But otherwise, as for the committee meetings, we've got a lot of pieces of legislation that are going to come up tonight that came from the Finance Committee. Not everything has to be an emergency. There's going to be an ordinance later that comes up that I know specifically we said it did not need to be an emergency, and I think that was decreasing some the salaries for the fire department. But otherwise, everything came up, was discussed at Finance, and this is, it's moved forward. I'm not familiar with a couple of these pieces, but I'll learn more about them tonight. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Peters.
I attended the finance meeting. A lot's going to be brought up tonight, legislation. Next finance meeting will be March 7th at 4:30 PM.
All right, Mr. Robinson?
I don't have much, just March 2nd, 1 PM, public service meeting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hayes?
We had the Public Safety Committee meeting, February the 8th. Approval of the minutes, January minutes was approved. Police chief report was submitted, fire chief report was submitted, Mr. Hitt and Mr. Stahl will give those. Safety Service Director comments. We talked about code violations. We need to put some more teeth into the code violations. That's something we'll be working on. Under old business, we talked about farmland within the city. We've talked about just going and talking to specifically property itself. That's something that's ongoing. That'll come up in a future meeting. Under new business, we had sponsors for grants. There were several grants that will be on the agenda tonight. And March the 8th will be our next public safety council, or public safety meeting in the room next to us at 5 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hitt?
Yep, go through the fire chief's report that he presented at safety committee meeting. As far as EMS workers, they had acute stroke training. As far as the fire training, they did scenario training, and they're continuing to do new hire orientation. They developed and implemented a new part-time orientation manual. They began updating departmental policies and procedures manual, and they began updating standard operating guidelines manual. And the chief said that they are doing 8.6 runs per day compared to 6.7 runs per day last year. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stahl?
I'll be reading, this is from the police chief. When I say we, it's from him. We currently have one open position for an officer and currently accepting applications for a police officer through lateral transfers and accepting regular applications through February 25th. The newest cruiser has been upfitted and put in service. A cruiser damaged last year was repaired and is back in service. We have one cruiser out of service due to a cracked windshield from ice damage during the recent storm. It will be repaired soon. We are working on presentations for town hall meetings, explaining the facility needs and assessment. Ohio is requiring 24-hour CPT, which is continued professional training, in various topics for each officer to maintain certification. We will be purchasing additional tables for the city hall training room to host a training for countywide agencies. The annual report for 2021 was completed. A grant for additional body cameras is to be awarded to our agencies in the upcoming weeks. This includes approximately $13,600 reimbursement of an $18,100 purchase to be completed in 2022. The generator purchased last year was installed and is operational. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, on to our city official reports.
So I'm going to give you the State of the City address. I was hoping to do this on the 3rd, but with all the fantastic weather we had, I got backed up a little bit. So I am honored to present the State of the City address for the great city of London, Ohio. As we begin 2022, we look back at the year that was 2021. 2021 was another interesting year with COVID-19 variants making their way through the United States. The first case of COVID-19 was reported in Ohio on March 9th, 2020. So 23 months later, we are still dealing with the virus and its effects. London has been strong through the pandemic, and we're finally getting back to the normal, or what can be considered the new normal. Even with the difficulties 2021 presented, it's been a very busy year and many things were accomplished. Before I get into the specifics, I would like to take a moment and thank my administration, our department heads, our employees, city council, and our citizens. Without this strong team, the important work of continuing to improve London would not have been possible. I eagerly look forward to 2022, and we will continue to serve the people of London while managing an effective and efficient government. So much has happened in the past year. I couldn't possibly discuss everything, but I do want to talk about each department and mention some important achievements in 2021 and some goals for 2022. I will start with our utilities. We currently do have a strong Board of Public Utilities that is working alongside the administration and the department heads they oversee. The Board of Public Utilities office here in City Hall. In 2021, efficiency and communication was a focus. 290 cellular water meters have been installed to date with the accuracy and efficiency of reading these meters. This project will continue into 2022, where we hope to have all the meters switched over to cellular. The BPU notifications went live in 2021, and even though we had one little hiccup, we hope that this will be a great tool for communication. The new hose bid program was introduced last year, and many people took advantage of it so they could water their yards or fill up their pool, and we'll continue to purchase more every year as the demand rises. 2022, we will look to improve communication even more. They will be encouraging citizens to sign up for e-bills and the ACH bill pay. The city will also be starting a city newsletter that will be sent out periodically with the utilities bill. This is a great way to get correct information out to the citizens. The sanitation department. 2021 has been a big change in this department. They improved the service by going automated in 2020 with the new trash trucks. We have seen a large increase of trash and recycled pickup in the past year. With the new trucks, they've been able to stay on schedule with both residential and commercial accounts. These trucks have improved our Bureau of Workmen's Compensation claims dramatically. The transfer station is now open every Saturday to enable citizens to drop off their bulk trash or yard waste on the weekends. In 2022, they plan to work towards switching more commercial accounts over to the front load dumpsters, and this will help improve the efficiency and safety of emptying the large dumpsters. The wastewater department. 2021 was a bit of a tough year looking for a key employee. The search for a new wastewater superintendent took a lot longer than expected, but we were happy to report that we have hired Richard Duncan, and he will be managing this department. We're excited to have him on our team and look forward to the improvements he will make. The department did complete the installation of the new digester, and in 2022 will be another busy year for this department. They will be continuing to study and work towards starting a line expansion on the east side of town to help community growth. The department is working on the new screw press to replace a belt filter press, and continued maintenance and upgrades are always a focus of the department to keep the plant running smoothly. The water department. 2021 has been a year of challenges with promise on the horizon. We continue to work on the East Water Treatment Plant so we can process more water. As we all know, the plant was built on an aquifer that contains ammonia. This is still one of the toughest issues that I inherited as a mayor. We have made much progress, but still have a road ahead of us. We have located an area where we believe may be clean water with no ammonia. We have a landowner who is finally willing to work with us to help us remedy our issue. Our productive partnership with the EPA will continue as they help us find a solution to this problem. The department was awarded $400,000 OPWC grant and a zero-interest loan to replace the current residential water meters with the electronic meters. This process, like I said, is underway and will be completed to benefit our citizens, the water department, and the billing process. We're able to read the meters much faster, freeing up employees to maintain our aging infrastructure. It will also give our citizens the opportunity to access their meter information showing usage and alert them if there is an issue like a possible leak. So we hope to have this project completed in 2022. We do hope that 2022 will be a year of improvements. With the continued efforts at the East Water Treatment Plant, we also focus on the current plant. Talked about that a little bit earlier. We're looking into possibly another contact tank, so when the old one is being cleaned or repaired, we're not down. We need to make sure that we can maintain soft water at all times. Building and zoning department. Last year was a busy year, even in an uncertain economy. Our building department issued 408 total permits, in which 41 were for dwellings. That almost doubled the dwelling permits in 1 year. The amount of dwelling permits is great, but I can really see it rising over the next 2 years. I've had multiple meetings over the past few months and builders and development companies and realtors on possible residential builds. So this is a very exciting time for the residential market in London. 2022, technology will be a big focus for the building department. They will implement new software that is being developed at this time and expect it to be live sometime in March. The department continues to build on accepting applications and drawings electronically to eliminate paper handling and record retention storage. The software for the electronic plan review is in place and being utilized at this time. The auditor's office. Just like many departments, this office continues to come into the 21st century in 2021. The new software has been installed and is being utilized. They also started using the Ohio Online Checkbook to aid in our financial transparency. This year, they hope to be able to set up ACH payments for their vendors to help with efficiency. And the finances for the city last year were good, even though there was unknowns with the pandemic. The overall city revenue in 2021 was $20,947,590.83. The expenses totaled $19,938,706.53. The general fund received $5,254,321.73, and we spent $5,161,060.23. So I'm proud to say that in the 6 years that I've been mayor, the city has never spent more money than it's received, and we continue to stay in the black. Street Department, 2021 was a year of repairs. The city was able to acquire $67,000 in CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, some money for storm sewer projects. That money was used for the storm sewer projects on Lincoln, Wick Line, South Street, and 2 projects on Main Street. The city also repaired storm sewers on High Street while jetting lines took place throughout the city. The park bench project was a success, with 15 benches being sold and installed at Cowling Park. In 2022, we will continue to focus on the city's infrastructure. The department has 4 storm sewer projects planned for this year. Simultaneously, we will be locating and identifying what projects we can focus on next. We are currently entering into a contract with an engineering firm to study a portion of the storm sewer. The State Route 56 and State Route 38 paving project, in conjunction with ODOT, will take place this year, and this will consist of paving as well as some storm sewers replacement on these roads. The traffic lights will be upgraded this year with new LED lights, traffic timing cameras, and crosswalks. This will help with the safety and the flow of traffic throughout town. London Police Department. In 2021, the department took 1,576 incident reports, which is approximately a 15% increase from 2020. The department continues to place priority on public outreach. Even with the limited events due to the pandemic, they were able to host such events as National Night Out. The London Police app is getting more and more traffic every year. The anonymous tip line on the app was very helpful in getting information about crimes and drug activity. So we encourage all citizens to join the over 4,000 users by downloading the app and getting up to date new information. Officers made 1,315 traffic stops in 2021. That was an increase from 1,120 in the previous year. Of those 1,315 traffic stops, there were 208 citations were issued. The remaining stops were various arrests, and some of the remaining stops were various arrests, and there were 741 traffic offenses charged in 2021, a 5% increase over 2020. The division responded to 160 reports of non-injury property damage crashes, 36 hit-skip crashes, 31 injury crashes for the year, and thank goodness no fatal crashes occurred within the city in 2021. In 2022, the department will continue to increase their traffic enforcement activities by at least 5% over 2021 to help keep with motoring and public safety. They continually look to increase their public and community involvement. We'll continue this this year in introducing a new Safety Town event. And we're teaming up with the school to do that, as well as enhancing National Night Out event. We have completed a facility needs assessment and continue to work with others on making those recommendations a reality and hopefully planning for the construction of a modern facility. London Division of Fire and EMS, the department answered 2,614 calls for service. They have now been operating our EMS in the city for 3 full years, and it seems to be going very well. We're able to focus on the citizens we serve and receive many positive comments about our medics' professionalism and excellent service they are providing. They instructed over 120 high school students in CPR. The department began building renovations at the South Station, and they completely implemented a new reporting system and located through GPS all hydrants within the city and entered over 650 occupancies into the new system. A few of the things that are planned, just a couple for this year, would be we need to get out and flow test all the hydrants and then complete renovations not only on the South Station but what's going to be done at the North Station. London Parks and Recreation, 2021 was another year of pivoting due to the pandemic. 2020 was ruled by COVID mandates and protocols, and even through it, we didn't close the pool or cancel any programs because of COVID, and we continued to deal with COVID in 2021. They went to an accelerated program schedule in 2020 and continued this practice this past year because of the threat of COVID. The department continued the Outdoor Grass Volleyball League in 2021 because of the numerous requests. The program was 6 weeks long, and the league consisted of approximately 85 kids and 12 teams. The youth basketball program had a record-setting number of kids at 262 kids, which was 32 total teams. A total of 18 games were played every week, every Saturday at that, and a total of 167 games were played overall. So we expect the program numbers to increase to about 300 kids in 2022-23 season. The spring volleyball program finished registration at over 130 participants and 16 teams, and the completion of the Ninja course at Cowling Park added another recreational adventure. 2022 will focus on growth. The Merrimack Miracle Group and the City of London will continue to focus on Merrimack and bring recreation to that area. The construction of the new playground is set for spring at Merrimack Park. The youth programs will continue to grow, and we need to grow with them. We expect that the 3 programs overall will have around 550 participants this year. So like I said, London is growing. In 2021, we showed a lot of growth and implemented tools to promote such growth. We established a revitalization district and a citywide community reinvestment area. Both these programs will entice homes and businesses to the community. We are already seeing that happen with a spike in housing and a new restaurant. Our growth is one of the reasons that we need this new community center, police department, and additional funding for the Division of Fire and EMS. As a grown community, we strive to offer amenities and safety that everyone needs and wants. This is why we built new playgrounds and upgraded Cowling Park. This is why we improved the municipal pool and splash pad, and why we focus on improvements at Merrimack Park. By having a new state-of-the-art police station, a new larger community center, we will be able to meet the needs of our citizens, from children trying sports for the first time to adults just wanting a safe place to walk. Ultimately, as we said, the decision will move forward and the project will be presented to the voters. So personally, I would like to have my son have a place to play sports, paint a picture, take a class, and have a safe place to hang out with his friends in the future. And on that note, the MOLO fun fact is number 152, which ties right into that last statement. The proposed 0.5% income tax levy to build the Recreation Community Center, build a new police department, and help fund the London Division of Fire and EMS will cost the average London citizen $152.06, or it's $12.68 a month. So as a final reflection, 2021 has been another difficult year for many.
We never expected for the pandemic to last this long, but I'm proud to say that the city has not slowed down. We will continue to improve and make London an even better place to live, work, and play, and raise a family. We have continued to be financially responsible, operating with an increased carryover every year, because efficiency and effectiveness is what we strive for. So thank you all for your time. God bless you all. God bless the great city of London.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, on to our old business for a second reading. Resolution 10222, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 10222, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution authorizing the auditor to transfer funds during 2022.
No, this is the, basically cash flow fund transfers that the auditor's department can do throughout the year. Anybody have any questions?
No, as it was explained to me at that meeting, and I've talked to the auditor since then, this just allows her to go ahead and place this money in the accounts up front, so that they're funded properly. It's a bookkeeping matter for her. This would have been the third reading had we had a meeting that wasn't canceled due to snow. So she did ask before this was read the first time that we actually pass this, we suspend the 3 reading rule and pass it as an emergency for her bookkeeping at that point. So
what are our wishes?
yes.
I make the motion to bypass 3 reading rule.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Eads,
Mind me helping? Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
All right, and a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads.
Yes.
All right, 10222 has been adopted. On to Resolution 11222, a motion to read by title or number, and this is our new business.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 11222, sponsored by Greg Eads, a participatory resolution between the City of London and the Ohio Department of Transportation regarding the resurfacing project of Main Street between Center Street and High Street, and Main Street between the Western London Corporation Limit and High Street, including pavement repair, guardrail upgrades, culvert and storm sewer replacement, and pavement parkings lying within the City of London.
Just for an explanation, this is just a continuation of what has been planned by the city moving forward. This is the ODOT project. It's going to pave Main Street basically from one end to the other for the most part, at least down to Center Street. But we've already put the other parts in place. We have to approve the contract, which is what this is, to move forward. Any questions?
Any questions? All right, your wishes then on 12222,
Make a motion to bypass 3 reading rule.
Second.
in a second. All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Okay,
Move to adopt.
second.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
All right, 11222 has been adopted. On to ordinance 11322, motion to read by title or number.
Yes.
All right, in a second.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 11322, sponsored by Brian Robinson, an ordinance amending 1064 of the codified ordinances.
So this is just really putting in place a process to, if your mailbox is damaged during weather where our plow trucks are coming through. It's just gonna give you a conventional mailbox. If you need it replaced, you must submit a written request to the city administration 24 hours after. They're not gonna replace decorative ones. You're just gonna get the conventional one that the city buys, if you so please. Also, it would also have to be within the guidelines from the street, from sidewalks. If you're outside those guidelines, they're not gonna replace it. Really just giving us a process instead of Jennifer getting 1,000 calls when their mailboxes are damaged. So, does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Robinson, on this, it says, damaged by city employees during snow and ice control or any other maintenance activities. Would that also include maybe trash removal or anything else the city might do? City projects, the street department's out working on something? Or is this limited only to a snow incident, snow and ice?
Yes, anything that's caused by our city workers. It won't fix any of your landscaping around it. It's just really just 100% towards your mailbox. It'll replace it or fix it, whichever, but you have to go through the certain guidelines to make sure it gets fixed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Does anyone
Your
have
wish.
any questions? I move to suspend the 3 reading rule.
I'll second.
Second. All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
No.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 11322 stays on. Okay, on to ordinance 11422, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 11422, sponsored by Josh Peters, an ordinance amending section 88015 of the codified ordinances.
Yeah, this ordinance, I'm going to refer to our auditor to explain this so I don't mess this up. I know, that's why. And I appreciate that she came to the meeting tonight.
Josh, if it's okay, I'll
Oh,
I'll
Rex, okay,
explain that.
perfect.
When I was the
Thank
one that requested this, our codified ordinances currently state that we are to fund the appropriations for the tax department first with tax collections, of which we've done now since that was changed. And the tax department, you know, they're diligent in the way they spend their money. They don't spend every bit of the money that's appropriated, so there's always leftover money. And that has accumulated over time into their fund where they have more than they need already before we started collecting taxes this year. So my feeling and the administration's feeling is we could utilize that money to put 10% into the capital fund sooner, and we could use it in the general fund, the remaining part that's collected, that they collect. So what we've done is, so they won't run out of money, we said any time that their fund is greater than 120% of their budget for a given year, then we're going to skip that and not collect that for that year. That'll cause their fund to be drawn down. Then the next year, they'll start getting money accumulated again, and that fund will start growing. And probably, my estimation, every 8 to 10 years, that line will be skipped, and where they won't have to collect, or won't have to put the initial tax receipts into the tax department's fund. It's so that fund doesn't grow. And the other thing is that fund, anytime you put money in a designated fund, you can't take it out. So if that fund was to grow to $1 million, you'd say, hey, that's great, let's use that for X, sewer, storm water, whatever. Can't. It's designated for tax department. So this is a way we can regulate that and keep them at their fund balance in line.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Mr. Council, initially, when we discussed this, this was to start next year. It looks like that is not written that way now. Is it intended to start this year or next year? I think when we discussed it at the meeting, it was because money's already been collected this year. We couldn't do it. I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's correct, Greg. They get their money first, so their money's already been collected and put in their fund for this year. The first time that, if council passes this, the first time that could be enacted would be in the 2023 calendar year.
Okay, and I thank you. And I have a second question. And I'm just asking this because I don't know. It says on section B, no less than 10% of the net available income tax receipts received annually shall be used to defray the capital expenses of the city. Do we think, since this is as an ordinance of no less than 10%, do we think 10% is appropriate? Should that be increased?
Well, that was a figure that was set by finance back in 2015, I believe, 15 or 14. Before that, council would always say, okay, we think we need to take X number of dollars out of general, and we still do that. We still take excess funds out of general to help prop up the capital fund. But that was just kind of like a savings plan. It's kind of, it just depends on how our finances are being run. If we see that we're, collecting too much money in the general fund and we want to increase that, the council will be certainly okay to do that. But at this time, I think it's an adequate amount. And by circumventing Section A next year, they'll get an additional 10% shot of income tax next year into the capital fund. Does that make sense? So, I think it needs to be addressed and looked at. If we see the general fund's amassing too much money and we want to increase the capital, that's a prerogative of finance, and then recommend that to council.
And when we discussed this at that meeting, just as an explanation, because that money wasn't going to fund the tax department because they're going to be overfunded, the thought was that would already be an extra amount of money, correct?
Exactly.
But that would just go to the general fund at that point, not just to capital, just to general fund.
10% would go to capital. So, example, I think what was their budget? 300 and some $1,000? Close to 350. So, next year, capital will get an extra shot of $35,000, and then the remainder would go into general next year.
Which could still be appropriated for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. Let's see here, so 11422, that does not have an emergency clause on that. So we'll leave that on, all right. On to resolution 11522, motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Resolution 11522, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution increasing appropriations.
Yeah, this is just moving money from general to the maintenance of vehicles fund for the police department for $6,661.90 for vehicle repair.
Can I add to that?
Yep.
So last year, there was a claim, I believe this is what it was. There was an insurance claim. The city paid for the repairs out of their own, the police paid for it out of their maintenance fund. This is just reimbursing that fund for money that they've already spent.
Okay. And what are your wishes here?
Just leave it.
Leave it, okay. That's 115. All right, on to resolution 11622, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 11622, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution increasing appropriations.
This is $2,500 that the fire department grant money they received from the Ohio Department of Public Safety. And they just want to be able to use it.
Okay, any questions there? And what are our wishes there? We want to make sure they have access to those funds.
You said it wasn't in any hurry.
Okay. On to Resolution 11722, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 11722, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution decreasing appropriations.
Okay, again, I'm going to refer to either Rex or,
Can I say that again? Decreasing.
it's decreasing, but I'm going to let Rex or Kenna
It makes sense.
explain it.
Decreasing appropriations.
Okay, this is to decrease or kind of offset what we're allowing to spend for the fire department out of the ARP fund. Those expenses have to be spent out of that fund for auditing purposes because it was a grant. So in order to just kind of break the budget even, we're gonna decrease the fire salaries since we already increased the 400,000 in the ARP fund. So essentially, it's gonna keep the budget the same. We're just spending his salaries out of a different bucket or fund.
Just to swap grant money for general fund money, is that right?
No, it's the fire department fund, so it's not
Well,
from
I mean, their
general.
fund.
Yeah,
And is that 400,000 or 800,000?
800,000, I apologize.
Yeah, 800,000. So just kind of move, instead of
Yeah.
using their funds, use the grant money.
Correct.
To cover that. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Oh, yeah, point at me. Well,
Well, I thought you were about to say you
No.
had the pick me.
No, but I will say that I brought this up, and I think this could be confusing for people if they don't follow, and I'm telling you, I don't follow it completely. And that is, when we had our first finance meeting of the year, Mr. Castle said the fire department's going to be short on money. We're going to put ARP money in this account so that they're not short. That's $800,000. We don't have all 800,000 yet. We've got 400. There's 400 more coming, but it equals 800. Now we're going to take $800,000 back out, which would make me think if we're doing that, we're short somewhere. But we had a long discussion. I'm still not 100% sure that I follow it, but I trust the auditor to know that this is the right way to do it. So even though I can't answer those questions or follow it along, if someone has questions, they should probably call the auditor.
So my question would be, so we're going to use the grant money to replace, so use the grant money instead of the money we were going to use. Where would the fund be without the grant money? Would it be above or below?
Below.
Then it would be below. Right.
There is an emergency clause on this.
Okay, yeah, and this does have an emergency clause on it.
I make the motion to suspend the three reading rule on it.
Okay,
Second.
and the second. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
No?
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt.
Yes.
All right, 11722 is left on. On to Resolution 11822, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 11822, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Commerce for Marks Radio Systems.
Yes, this grant is available through, as she said, Ohio Department of Commerce. It's a grant that would purchase what are called Marks radios. The grant would be for up to $15,000.
Okay, is there a timeline on this?
It doesn't have an emergency, but if there's no questions, I'm gonna, you know how the grants are, you gotta get them when you can. I'm gonna make a motion that we suspend the three reading rule on it.
Second.
But I do have a question.
Okay, yeah.
We're already in the Marks radio program system, right? Is this buying additional radios or replacing?
This is buying additional radios.
Okay, and then here's the question, the real question I have, and maybe I've just missed this, that generally speaking, when we authorize the Safety Service Director to apply for a grant, once the grant is awarded, we have a choice to accept it or not. However, this says to apply and accept. This comes up on like 4 pieces of legislation. Now, I see this as $15,000. I don't see an issue, but I don't understand why this legislation says apply and accept when I thought normally we applied for, and then we may not accept, especially if there's matching funds. So maybe you can explain that a little bit better to me.
Mr. Castle.
Is it on? This is all free and clear money, so there's no matching. That's why we go ahead to apply and accept. We would never accept whenever we have, I don't think if we have to match funds. You'll see that in legislation coming later where we don't know what the matching funds are going to be totally, so we just say apply for. But in this case where it's free and clear money, we do apply and accept to just basically save you guys a piece of legislation that you have to go through again. Because I don't think you'll turn down money if we get it for free, right? So,
All right.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you.
no problem.
Any further questions? 11822. Okay, what are our wishes there?
Make a motion to
Suspend.
suspend the three reading rule on it.
Okay,
Second.
second. All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
All right, 11822 has been adopted. On to resolution
I
11922.
think it was just.
Or,
suspended, right?
sorry about that. Yeah, let's, motion to adopt.
Make the motion to adopt it.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
All right, now 118 has been adopted. Resolution 11922, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 11922, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio State Fire Marshal.
Yes, the Ohio State Fire Marshals, they have an equipment grant available. Fire Department would like to apply for it. This authorizes Safety Service Director to apply and accept said grant through the Ohio State Fire Marshals, not to exceed $15,000.
Okay, any questions on 11922?
Yeah, Rex, I meant to ask this on the last one, so I didn't have to ask it again. When this money's accepted, it automatically, does it automatically go to an account? Or are we gonna have to have a piece of legislation to put that in an account once you accept this? I mean, if it's for equipment, will it automatically just go in fire equipment account?
You would have to appropriate the money to spend it. It'll go into their fund, if I'm not mistaken, but council would have to approve them for them, give them permission to spend the money.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Any other questions on? If not, there's nothing controversial about this. I'd make a motion to bypass three reading rule on it.
okay, and a second?
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Okay, and a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt it.
Second.
All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
All right, 11922 is adopted. On to resolution 12022. Motion. to-
Motion, yes.
Yep. And a second?
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 12022, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Public Safety.
Yes, this is another grant from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Division of EMS. Has a grant available. Fire Department would like to apply for said grant. We're authorizing Safety Service Director again to apply for and accept a grant through the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Division of EMS, not to exceed $2,500.
All right. Any questions on 12022? All right, your wishes?
If there's no questions, I make a motion to go ahead and suspend the three reading rule on it.
Second.
All right, we have a second. And clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Move to adopt.
All right, motion to adopt. And we have a second here.
Brian?
Brian, yes. And please take the roll call for adoption.
Stahl?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right, on to Resolution 12122, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution. 21.
Resolution 12122, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio State Fire Marshal.
Yes, the Ohio State Fire Marshals, they have a training grant available. Fire Department would like to apply for said grant, authorizing Safety Service Director to apply for and accept said grant through the Ohio State Fire Marshals. This is not to exceed $1,500.
Okay. Any questions there? All right,
If there's no question, I make a motion to bypass the three reading rule.
and a second from Brian. All right, clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes,
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, and a motion to adopt.
make a motion to adopt it.
Second.
Second, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes,
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
All right, Resolution 12222, a motion to read by title or number.
so moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 12222, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant from Walmart.
Yes, Walmart, Wally World has a grant available to replace fire hoses. Fire Department would like to apply for this grant. We're authorizing Safety Service Director to apply for and accept a grant through Walmart not to exceed $50,000.
All right, any questions?
If there's no questions on it, I'd make a motion to bypass the three reading rule.
Second.
All right, and we have a first and second. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes,
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Adopt.
second.
Second. All right, clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hayes?
Yes,
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
All right, on to Resolution 12322, a motion to read by title or number.
Make a motion to read by title and number.
Okay, and a second.
second.
All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 12322, sponsored by Andy Hitt, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for a grant from the Ohio Department of Development.
Okay, this is basically a grant to help with demolition of the building next door here, should the levy pass. It would help offset costs as far as taxpayers' expenses go. The deadline, I believe, is at the end of this month, February 28th. I'm not sure about the amounts involved, but I think it's pretty substantial amounts.
It's, I don't think there's really any limit in what you can ask for, but up to $500,000 is we don't have to pay it back. Anything above that, we would have to pay, match 25% of what we would request. So we could ask for 700,000, which that's our guesstimate. Probably it's going to cost to do that because prevailing wage, it has to be applied with grant money. I think it would only cost us $50,000 to do that.
So this is just to apply, and the deadline's the
Right.
28th.
The reason we didn't put the apply and accept, we don't know exactly what the total amount we're going to apply for, so we don't know what the matching funds are going to be, so I didn't want to.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Yes.
So is this only going to be specifically for that building, or can it be used for anything else? Does it?
No, you have to designate what, it has to be for blight, unoccupied, unoccupiable type buildings. So it has to be, we have to define what buildings we're requesting the grant money for.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So because of the time frame involved, I wanted to make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Second.
And a second. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Hit,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
All right, and a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
And I'll second.
Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Stahl,
Yes.
Eads.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Hit.
Yes.
All right. 1-2, Resolution 124-22, a motion to read by title or number.
A motion to move by title and number.
Second.
Second. All right. Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 124-22, sponsored by Andy Hitt, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for a grant from the Ohio Department of Development.
So this is basically the same deal, just to allow the city to apply for the grant. And because of the time involved, also, I'm not sure of the amounts, but I think it's less than the other grant.
This one is gauged by the state has given each county $1 million that they can allocate out. And I know that there's been another community that's put a project in. So we could possibly get what's left over. I don't know what their amount is. So that $1 million is free and clear. Anything above that is at the 25% match threshold. So again, I won't know what those total amounts are until the awards are given out. This is actually in the second phase of that. We missed the first phase of the round, but there's $500 million available, and they've only allocated out $88 million because each county got a million each. This opens up March 1st and has to be finished by the end of April. The only catch is it's first come, first serve, so we want to try to get our application in as soon as possible. And it's a case where if we win them both, we're going to take which one's the best advantage for the city. We won't accept both of them. But they're both available. Our project basically qualifies for both. This one's for a brownfield project, which brownfield project, there has to be some kind of toxic materials present in the building, of which we do have some asbestos in those buildings. So this brownfield money would cover that kind of building. The other one is just vacant buildings and so forth.
Yes.
So again, on this, we're just saying through action tonight that we're approving for you to apply for that, correct?
Correct.
Not necessarily accept it.
Correct.
So on both of these pieces of ordinances or legislation that have come before us, if by chance your levy doesn't pass, do we accept the money? Do you tear down a building because you have the money to do so?
I would say no, but we'd have to seek some more input on that. I mean, we might go ahead and do some of that if we could. The part that's, not the
gym.
Not the gym, but we could do the other pieces.
But the rest of it, you could take
Yeah.
that money and tear that down because it's not being used, nor is it intended to be used.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious about that. Thank you.
Okay. And I know at one point there was someone that was interested in purchasing that and renovating it into senior living at one point, and it's something that they've done in other cities where they've purchased old school buildings and renovated those into senior living. And I'm not sure if they were still interested in doing it to this one, or if they're not because it was going to possibly be used as a future location for police department.
No, this was, they went in and we did a walkthrough and they said no thank you. They said no thank you.
All right. Okay. So what are our wishes here, 124-22?
So because of the timeliness and the advantages, I guess, involved in applying early, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Okay.
Second.
And a second. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension.
Eads.
Yes.
Peters. Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
All right, and a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Now, this does not have an emergency clause, so officially couldn't do it for 30 days, but that's well within your time limit, correct? Okay.
Well, I think, wasn't one submitted that has
It does
an
have
Oh,
emergency
that's right.
clause?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the original. I apologize.
All right, so we have a motion to adopt
Second.
and a second. Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
12422 has been adopted. On to roundtable. We will start with Mr. Stahl.
Nice to hear different views from everyone. Thanks everyone for coming out.
Oh.
Nice to hear different things and what you just hear from the same people all the time. And thanks for the mayor for giving an interesting view of the last year of the city. Things aren't as bad sometimes as what we think, so thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the mayor for the report also. It's interesting to see what's happened and probably gives everyone hopefully perspective on progress that's being made within the city. And then also, as far as the levy coming up, I think it's a good opportunity for everyone to, have their input. I know there's a lot of people against it here, but this is probably a small snapshot. You don't know how that would come out, but this gives the community the opportunity to vote. So, and then safety committee meeting is March 8th, 5 o'clock in the meeting room over here.
All right, Mr. Hayes.
I want to thank the mayor. Great report tonight, Your Honor. Appreciate it very much. City's looking good. I want to thank all city employees. Give them a big thank you for jobs well done. I want to give street department a great shout out on great job on snow removal. I had a lot of good comments from some of the residents. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Great comments from everyone. As I said before, this is on the ballot. It's your vote, yes or no. That's why a lot of men died, and I've said this before. It's why a lot of men died, a lot of men shed their blood. So you have that right. So exercise your right with a yes or no vote. I personally want to say what a great season the Cincinnati Bengals had. I am just so thrilled. And look out next year. They just signed Zach to a multi-year contract, and we're going to get some offensive linemen. And next year, we're going back again. But my congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals, which a gentleman here in town was part founder and owner, Dr. Hackett, Bobby Hackett's dad. He went in with Paul Brown. A lot of people didn't know that, but he went in and formed the Cincinnati Bengals. So they're a part of London. So you root for the Bengals, don't root for the team up north. And I have a...
You're out of order, sir.
And I do want to ask one question though. And I'm not trying to start anything up here, but on the rules that we voted for the new council rules, should have Councilman Smith have been here for that?
Well, we have a majority. We have a quorum.
Okay,
So that would be
I
for him to be here for everything we voted on.
Yeah,
tonight.
I just wanted to be sure, so.
Yeah.
Outside that, thank you very much. I appreciate you. God bless the city of London. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
I don't have a whole lot. Just want to thank everybody for coming out. Of course, we keep saying it every time that we appreciate all the different perspectives from all the individuals in the city. We wouldn't know exactly how you felt without you. I know sometimes it may be tough, but that's what we're up here for, is to hear your voice, whether we agree with it or disagree with it. So that's what's great about our society. And also, public safety, or public service, is March 2nd, 1 p.m. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Mr. Peters.
Well, I want to thank everybody who came out to address their concerns tonight. So.
All right, Mr. Eads.
I was glad to hear the State of the City address. I'm really excited to hear the fact that, I know it sounds old-fashioned that you're going to send a quarterly newsletter. I think that's needed. I walk in people's houses, and they still have the the document that came out about the trash removal. I mean, that's still on people's fridges. And I just think that that's a great way to communicate. I know it's old-fashioned, but I still think it's a great way to communicate. Very excited to hear that. I was curious about this brownfield remediation, or actually the ordinance that was before that, when I read those, and I wasn't in the committee meeting, so I didn't know what these were. But it made me think of this, and I just want to tell council this is something I don't know if we have this as an ordinance or not, but moving forward, maybe it's in the fire code. Maybe I need to, I'll try to find this stuff out before we move forward on it. But when we have a house that catches fire and it's uninhabitable and it sits there for a very long time, you know, the insurance company may pay for someone to come in and tear down the house because they're going to rebuild it. But I don't know what the process is. And I know there was a house, I think over on Chandler, that it caught on fire and it had been there for a long time. They just tore it down. And I don't know who tore it down. I don't know if the city did or the insurance company did. But if we don't have any legislation that the city could go ahead and do this and then bill the property owner, the insurance company, it's a hazard to have that building there for any length of time that kids are going to go into, and you just don't know how safe it is. If the fire department doesn't want to go in there and play around, we shouldn't let kids do it either. I just don't know if this ordinance exists. So hopefully, and I'll see if I can look into that, and maybe that'll be something we'll bring up later at a meeting. And also, last point, Mr. Hayes, as a lifelong Browns fan, I'm looking forward to the Browns having a better season next year and having a rivalry once again.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
Quarterback.
All right, in regards to the fire, isn't there a timeline they're supposed to have it removed by?
Yeah, I
thought we
think-
talked about this.
How
It
long
was a
ago
while
was that,
ago.
Bill? We passed that legislation. Was it this?
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked about
Yeah,
this.
they passed legislation a year or two ago about it where the insurance has to pay for it. If they don't, then we can assess their taxes and do it, I believe. I'd have to look it up exactly word for word, but there was something where we didn't have any teeth if somebody a house burnt down and they just skipped town. We didn't have any teeth to do anything. And so that legislation, I'd say it was probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah, because there was a house, I think, on South Oak that burned down or something,
Yeah.
or something happened to it.
But the ordinances haven't been published again since that time frame, right? So, I mean, we may have passed it, but I don't think it's been published, or has it since then? Because that was still, according
Yeah, I
to,
don't think the new ones.
according to Jennifer, that was still being worked on because they publish every 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah, the new one
Okay,
has it,
okay.
because it still has Arlene and the other.
Okay, thank you.
I was going to say that would come under what was talking about at the safety service meeting. I'm sorry, blight conditions. But it runs in my mind, like what the mayor said. It seems like I remember something about the insurance, and once it's paid, if it's not paid, then we can take care of it and go in and do what we have to do. I just don't remember.
Yeah, and that
the
was a couple of years ago. We did talk, that did come up. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd also like to wish Rich Hayes a successful surgery next week.
Oh, thank you. I've got to have a heart aortic valve put in. I'm going to make it. I'm going to be fine. Don't want to get, but Lord got me through cancer surgery, and He'll get me through this. Simple procedure. They go in, put the new valve in, take the old valve out, wrap the old valve around it, seal it, and then they get me up that afternoon and walk me. And if everything's good, get to come home the next day. Just got to take it easy for about 7 to 10 days. Can't lift anything and can't get excited, can't get crazy or anything. So, but I'll take your prayers. I'll take your prayers. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank everyone for their comments this evening. And you know, some of you may not know, but I'm a researcher. I like to do research. I've done lots of research through my schoolwork, graduated with honors and everything. But I really enjoy you reading the Constitution, because some people haven't heard it. You know, so, and it brings it to the forefront of our memory to really see why we are here. You know, we're here for the people, and we're always here for the people, and we can't forget that. Even once we're elected and we sit here for a while, it's like we can't forget why we're here and how we got here to represent you. So thank everybody who comes out. Thank you for all of your comments and all of your input. And then we had one more thing from,
Yeah, you want to address it?
Sure. I just had a question in regards to Resolution 11722, the decreasing the fire
Yeah.
salaries fund or line. With that being left on, can we have a special meeting? It's a matter of bookkeeping. I have to submit a certificate of estimated resources to the county, and that document currently reflects the negative that the fire department fund would be if we were not using the ARP funds. This was discussed at the finance meeting. That's why there's an emergency on the resolution.
okay, and we left that on there.
Yeah, well, the suspension was 5-1, so it didn't suspend. So, but like she said, with not having a meeting at the beginning of the month, and it was talked about at finance, so you can make a motion to reconsider.
We can
or
do that tonight?
You can make a
Yeah,
motion.
you can make a motion to reconsider tonight. You can do it before, you could do it between now and the next meeting. So you could do that tonight if you would like to do that.
Well, you have to do it before you adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, yeah, before you adjourn it.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry, Ken, I thought my notes read that it was not going to be necessary to do that. That's why I chose to not.
Now, when's the meeting with the county? Or you submit? Okay, and it,
I'd make the motion.
Question?
Let's
okay.
re-
Motion to
revisit.
reconsider.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do that.
A second.
Second? Clerk, please take the roll call. Yeah, second. And we didn't adjourn, so we're still live. Good.
Stoll?
Yes.
Off my list. Pitt?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to reconsider Resolution 11722, and that's for the purpose of cleaning up books and preparing reports.
Make the motion to bypass 3 reading rule.
Second.
Second, all right. Clerk, please take the roll call for suspension of 11722.
Peters?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Pitt?
Yes.
Stoll?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Okay,
Make
now
the,
we need a motion to adopt.
make the motion to adopt it.
A second.
Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Pitt?
Yes.
Stoll?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
All right, 11722 is adopted as well. All right. Thank you again, everyone, and a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you. Next Thursday, or next Wednesday. I don't know what time yet. They haven't told me. I got to go tomorrow and have a
Well, we're learning things about parliamentary procedure tonight. Reconsider.
It's the first one I've ever done.
Hey, anybody want to, I got some numbers and budgets from the last time they were looking at doing the community center, building a new fire station and police station.
What's that from?
2008,
Let me see.
the budget,
I'm looking at everything. I'm gonna try to.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
budget, all that,
Are they
study that was done, everything.
So that,
Let's see here.
Here,
Draft one.
by then?
These are two separate, these are two different drafts. Let me circulate that one. Just make sure I get it back.
No, I'm just going,
No,
oh, I'm just.
there goes draft two.
Lay still for or something?
And you'd probably like to see this, Greg.
I don't mind you
That's the
walking
budget.
around. You said, just don't.
And it was to
Just don't touch anything.
redo the community center, to renovate that instead of tearing
That's
it
your
down.
wife, she'll help you.
And it was a $30,000
I said, I'd like you to walk a little bit.
feasibility study.